I find a lot of people who tell me, hey Abbas, I'm struggling to find good income generating properties. I'm struggling to find properties where I can add value and then flip them. And hey, even if I do find them, I am then struggling to purchase them, because if they're so good, there's going to be a flock of people trying to buy the same deals that I want to buy. And then I'm never successful in actually closing the deal. But hey, I'll tell you what it is that these guys are missing out on. You're focusing on the sale of that property, trying to purchase that one transaction, rather than focusing on building relationships. If you have that paradigm shift, rather than focusing on that one transaction, and look at that relationship you can form with either the vendor or the agent, then that's going to change everything for yourself. I'll talk to you about a real life example that we have just experienced now as we speak. Just behind me, that I'm going to show you after, is a block of 9 apartments that you can probably see now. This is a block of 9 apartments with allocated parking, and it's a large block. It's got 6 2-bedroom apartments and 3 1-bedroom apartments. I was offered this deal with a sourcer while I was not even in the country at the time. The sourcer got in touch with me and said, hey Abbas, this is the purchase price. This is how much money you need to spend on refurbishing the property, and this is what the GDV will look like. And it really stuck up well. So I told the sourcer, hey, I want to come in for a viewing because this property is in Liverpool and I'm based at Birmingham. I was actually in Dubai at the time. So we scheduled in a viewing. Unfortunately, when I did come down, it wasn't exclusively shown to me. There was apparently more than 6 other people interested in the same block. So now, just like any other vendor, you'd always prefer to pick the one who can close the fastest and also who could pay the most, perhaps a bidding war. So that's exactly what happened on this occasion. So I was a bit disappointed, telling the sourcer that, hey, if I'm paying you the sourcing fee, at least give me the exclusivity for at least one day, because it definitely takes a lot of time to come to the property, to do analysis, due diligence, to speak to the neighbors, to understand the sort of area it is before you can even invest in such a large amount. So we came down, I did a lot of my research, spoke to the neighbors, spent hours talking to the neighbors to understand what kind of market is this. Is it an end user market, or is it a rentals market? How far is the nearest station? How far is McDonald's, supermarkets, universities, city center, all these things that we normally do. And when I did like it, by the end of the day, telling the source, hey, I'm interested, that's when I get the news that, hey, you're actually 7th in line. So that is a bit disappointing, of course, because you've already spent so much time doing your analysis. So I did ask the source, at least, if I can't get this deal next time, please give me exclusivity for one day. If I don't give you a positive answer, then you can show it to the others. But what it seemed like, that the seller had approached many other sources. So anyhow, we told the seller that, hey, we will close within a reasonable time, and we're very much interested. We can put down a deposit right away and perhaps do a conditional exchange subject to searches, and let's move on. Turns out the seller wasn't very keen with this offer, because there was someone else willing to pay £25,000 more than our offer, which was the asking price, by the way. So why would the seller refuse £25,000, right? So again, this was a bit of a sad news. So what I did then was, luckily, the day I came to visit the property, it turned out that the vendor was here. So we managed to exchange numbers. So I called the vendor and told him, hey, we met at the property the other day. I'd really love to come by and see you, get to know you, perhaps build a relationship. The focus, build a relationship. So he allowed me. He was kind enough to give me his time. We came down, drove to Liverpool. He invited me to his restaurant, and we sat down. And I told the guy that, hey, look, we're not focusing at Liverpool just to be buying one property. That's a waste of time, because we can do that in Birmingham, right? We want to build a portfolio here, to build a team, and I want to build a relationship with yourself. So how about, let's start with this deal. I assure you, we will complete within 7 days, but I really want to buy this. I've done all my research. There isn't going to be any backfiring. Within 7 days, I will complete the deal. And let's take it to legals right away. So the seller was telling me, I'm not really sure if it's worth 25 grand. because I'm getting offered £25,000 more. So this is where I go with my point, is that you do not want to focus on the transaction. So while I met the landlord and I told the seller that, hey, I want to build a relationship with yourself. It's not just the one deal. So let's do this, 7 days and we will complete on the property. And guess what? The seller agreed. Now, if I had just depended on the sourcer, then definitely we wouldn't have gotten the deal. Because the sourcer and the seller initially didn't even have a relationship. So I took the initiative to call the seller, come meet him and talk to him that, hey, listen, it's not just the one deal I want to deal with you. I want to build a relation. Let's do one. Let's complete it. Let's do the second and the third. Let's work long term. It's not about just the one deal. Because if it is just about the one deal, I'd rather do it in Birmingham. Why drive 4 hours back and forth just to do the one-off deal? It just doesn't make sense. So let's do this. I give you my word. 7 days, we'll complete it and we'll do a cash transfer. Luckily, the seller agreed, and good news is that now we own the property. We just completed last Thursday. It's a block of 9 flats. It's a beautiful location, end user market, and the GDV is quite beautiful as well. So it's going to be a good profitable deal for us. The seller was quite happy that we did keep our word. We completed within a reasonable time, and now it's just about the refurb. So the point I want to make here is that if you are struggling to find deals on Rightmove, Zoopla, these are not platforms for you to be finding deals necessarily. Yes, you will find deals occasionally on there, which will be really nice, which will stack up. But the key thing that you want to be focusing on is that you want to use these platforms like Rightmove and Zoopla to be meeting agents that have access to these properties. Go meet them. Go visit them. Have lunch with them, build relationships. Know that you're not just there wasting their time. There are a lot of people in this industry that are just there to waste time. Will pretend like they have everything sorted, the financing sorted, the lending sorted, they have the cash in the bank, etc, etc, etc. But hey, guess what? When it comes to completion or even an exchange, maybe they haven't got the mortgage in place. Maybe the lender refuses to give the mortgage after, and all the other things that can do to backfire. So if the agent doesn't know you, let's say an agent gets a deal and there are 20 buyers there. Do you really think the agent's going to spend time calling each and every buyer to show them the property? While they know there may be one preferred investor within the list of 20 buyers. Well, if I was the agent, I'd rather just call my preferred investor and just sell it to them, right? It just makes, let's be practical. That's just what everyone would do. Why spend the time to take pictures of the property, post an ad about it, and start getting all the inquiries, picking up the phone, talking? Well, why spend the time if you're confident that that guy is serious, he is going to buy the property, he keeps his word? So that's who you want to be. If you're struggling to find the deals, then it's not that there are no deals in the market. There are tons of deals. It's just that you haven't built the right relationships. That's what you need to do. Build relationships, meet other agents out there, get connected with other sellers, get going in property investors networking meetings, know people, and build your reputation. That reputation is more important than any transaction. Because if you've got a bad reputation, you can't do business with anyone. Property business is a people's business. Without people, you will not be able to go anywhere in this business. You need to be likable, trustworthy, and you have to keep your word. So I hope this tip that I've provided really helps you get deals, because if I hadn't just done that myself, I would not have been able to acquire this block of flats. We wouldn't have been able to get it. We would have lost it because the sourcer clearly told me, here, boss, there's someone else willing to pay 25 grand more than what you're offering. But because I had that willingness and ambition to try and get this deal, I made the effort to come meet the seller and tell him, let's build a relation, let's work long term, not just a one-off. Who wants to do a one-off if you're a property investor that's going to be dealing in property for your life, and so am I? As long as you're winning and I'm winning, it'll work for all of us. Let's do something long term. I don't want to do business with the person who's going to eat all the meat off the bone without leaving anything for the others. As long as both win, that is a good business. That's a person you want to partner with. That's a person you want to do joint ventures with and work with long term. So this is what I'd advise you guys. Focus on relationships, not transactions. So I hope that tip is useful for you guys. If you enjoyed the content, please hit the like button, subscribe. Any questions you have, any opinions you have about this tip, put them in the comment section below. Hit the notification bell so you do not miss the next videos, and I will see you in the next one.